Hi there, I'm Juliana Carroll, and this is my sister and partner in Coffee and Tech, Lisa Jackson. Together, we are your hosts here at the Coffee Tech Talk Show, exploring anything and everything to do with work orchestration and automation.
Hey everyone, my name is Lee Jackson and I'm back with Coffee Tech Talk, another episode of Coffee Tech Talk. As usual, I'm here with my sister, Juliana Carroll. Say hello, Jay.
Hello.
We have a very special guest today. Yvonne, why don't you introduce yourself? By the way, you guys, she is an amazing tech executive. Seems like her and my sister have known each other forever. She turned entrepreneur in a company called Lash Lounge. Yvonne, please introduce yourself and tell us about yourself.
All right. Well, my name is Yvonne Chmielowiec, and or you can really say my name Chmielowiec because I'm Polish. Definitely will remember that last name, especially if you've had an opportunity to work with me. So I started my career in technology about over 20 years ago. I worked for the banks, really enjoyed working for Bank of America, Wachovia, Wells Fargo, AIG. As I started in the business world and started working, I was very fascinated with technology because it truly is the backbone of the business, and you really need to have great, sound, strong technology in order to deliver business results. So very quickly, I moved into not only the business side of things, but really the technology and being in between the business and technology, because I could understand what the business needed. And I also was able to understand technology, and that was something I thrived in.
How is technology being used, with your business today? And what lessons did you apply from being in big banks to now, owner of an operator of a small business, right?
Yeah. So, there's a lot of things in technology that are critical for small businesses to operate, right? So I think that a lot of what I learned in the financial industry is also very important to being successful as an entrepreneur. So when I look at, platforms and product management and what I learned about product ownership on my platforms and the data that we were reviewing, as well as managing by fact. Today I work and I have lash lounges, and I have two of them. We have a point of service system that is called Mind Body. But throughout my journey as an entrepreneur, which, I've owned these locations for about 3 years, we've had everything from, we've transitioned from one point of service system to another one. So we've had the whole transition of data as a customer. So I've always been on the technology side of implementing these transitions, and maybe not so much relating to the customer's burdens or challenges, but now I was on the receiving end of those transitions. Our point of service system, so I'm going to call it the POS because, acronyms are big, and this way I won't keep repeating myself. The POS system that we use does a lot more than just the cash register that people think. So both my businesses are salons. So that POS system, Mind Body, it's got all the customers' information, address, phone numbers. It also is, when you check out, it's got all your products and services. It's got your inventory. It's got your analytics. It's got your dashboards. It's, your stylists are able to log in and see their notes. They're putting in notes of their customers' experiences and service notes. We load our liability agreements that the customer actually would read and sign. It's digitally loaded and stored in their customer profile. We put before and after pictures of the service. So there is really so many things that this point of service system does for us. One of the critical components of operating even a franchise is really business process, because you want the experience to be consistent. You want both your locations to always offer to to understand their products, to be able to offer their products. And some of the challenges that have always occurred is you have a different person. And if you don't have the same scripts, when it comes to somebody calling, or how you talk about our products and how you explain our services, that whole training of that POS system and that process and the sales process, I had to build kind of a, we're actually still currently building, and it's evolving, tools for training those front desk employees, concierge, to be able to do that, because that is the backbone of your business. Now, today, we're implementing like a lead management system that actually has those scripts in there, so that they're constantly being able to, based on the call, are able to review the script and articulate exactly what they need based on the service. So it's almost like artificial intelligence that's helping prompt the person to say the right things, so that they're be able to explain the products and services consistently.
It's like training a virtual agent.
Absolutely.
There's a whole decision tree. You know, you start with this. If the customer that's chatting with you say these keywords, then your response should be X, Y, Z. As you know, that's how we train virtual agents, essentially. And you're training a human agent that way too. It's very prescriptive, right? So,
exactly. And then the other thing is integrating. We have a marketing suite, which integrates emails and sends out and schedules emails to send out promotions and pictures and branding according to our branding. We also have text that we're integrating, because now everybody wants to talk via text. So these POS systems are starting to purchase different companies like Bowtie or ZipWhip or other, corporations that actually have these tools. So in this case, they're MindBody just purchased Bowtie, and they're going to be integrating it so that now when we communicate with our clients to confirm appointments, we can do it via text, and it automatically updates the information in the system. So we know that they've received the text, they've responded and confirmed their appointment, and it automatically updates it. So my front desk is more efficient, and they don't have to spend a majority of their day doing that.
From our perspective, POS is a work orchestration engine, right?
Yes.
So just is the same concept as the big Fortune 500 companies use it, right?
It's just different volume. And when you think about it, it may even be similar volume, because when you're talking consumers, and if you think about the Lash Lounge, we have over 100, maybe 120 open locations.
Right.
And each of them have thousands of customers that are in the system, and they have to be able to, we're a network. So we have to be able to access the data across the network. So very similarly to in the banking center, you've got retail branches, and retail branches are capturing information and data, and then they have to go ahead and they have to be able to pull that information and that data on that customer, and they have to validate information. They have to, ensure that the money is there for whatever transaction they want to do. And so it's very similar to any of these, all these applications have work orchestration that is in the background and has to be operating efficiently in order for the whole entire model to work.
I actually studied fashion, and my first job was retail management. So, and back in the day, we had point of sales, POS, and that definitely has evolved, right, to where it is now. It's transitioned into more, when you're talking about marketing suites, that's really important to every business. So, talk about like that part of the digital marketing side of things. That's obviously it's partial, it's technology, but it's also marketing. So do you have a team that work with you on that, or is that something you've had to learn?
So I've had to learn a lot of it as I go. So when you think about it, originally, we said, yeah, it's important to have a Facebook and an Instagram account, right?
Yeah.
And why it's important? Well, you want people to hear about your services.
Right.
But if you've learned about social media, it's about your demographics, it's about targeting. When I go into really making decisions around what I market, I have to decide what tier pricing I'm going to offer to make sure that I've got the right offer and that I'm competitive in the market. And then I have to determine your demographic down to zip codes, to areas, and what I'm going to propose. Then I also have to make sure that I'm sending them, we create pages, landing pages, special landing pages for special offers. I remember having to pivot where we said, okay, well, if we're not going to get bookings right away, how do we create forms and capture data on the client so that we can reach out to them and be able to book in the future during COVID? So there's been a lot of different, things that we pivot, but one of the biggest things that I think I learned as being an entrepreneur is really that materializing and that value, right? You can't just throw money into marketing and expect that to generate a lead and generate money. You need to make sure that you're following that lead and know that it's a valuable lead, that you're targeting the right customer for the right price. And that sometimes takes a lot of time and a lot of tweaking along the way. So we're all tweaking.
Yes, always. The marketing, it changes, right? I mean, it definitely changes every week, if not every day. So talk about what made you choose to get into the beauty industry from technology? It's funny because we actually interviewed another gentleman who was in technology, and he went into the food industry because of his health. What was it that made you choose the beauty industry?
So let me tell you, my whole entire life, I've been focused on diversity and inclusion, as well as I've been focused on growing and mentoring women in technology. It was always something that I felt strongly about, trying to get more women to, from young girls going into the sciences and learning about the technology field, because it was something that when I came in really wasn't taught or offered so much to me. And I kind of evolved into that technology space. And so today, when we look at the numbers of how many people are at the banks that are, females in the technology industry, or the diversity, it's just still not there. And most of the time people leave mid-career. And so while I was at Bank of America, I was on the steering committee to lead the largest Charlotte chapter for women in technology. And so I was always very passionate about that. And one of the things that I thought, as I go through, is what is a career that I can continue to have where I can build women's confidence and build their self-esteem and help them, feel good about themselves. And so when I was looking for a franchise, this was a natural fit for me, because I felt like it was something, one, that offered a service that enabled women that are busy and hectic and really don't do a lot for themselves to be able to treat themselves to something that gives them the convenience and makes them feel wonderful, and it does something for themselves. So I really loved the concept, and I loved our founder and how she presents that, and how much of a confidence builder lashes could be.
I can attest to that. Lashes make a big difference. On pictures, on camera. It's like, it just changes your whole, outlook, so yeah, it makes you look great for sure.
And then the other aspect of it, the beauty industry is a very difficult industry, right? You have a lot of women in that industry. They're striving to become entrepreneurs. In most cases, they're artists. And so I really thought it would be amazing to be able to mentor some of them, to grow them, to develop them, to help provide a really great opportunity where they can really help lead innovation in the industry, because lashes are still fairly new in the beauty industry. So, you know, at the same time, I think all of those were just exciting to me. And I love the idea of learning about how to open my own business, build a business. I think I've always been creative at heart. And so this is kind of a great opportunity for me to take all my experience that I've learned in technology, in finance, and marry it with my ability to be creative and then continue to grow women in the technology and sciences spaces.
Well, I think you hit a home run, right? You have experience in technology. Everybody needs technology. You have experience in finance. I mean, the banking industry, everybody has to use that for money. And then you're in the beauty industry. I mean, you put those three together, I mean, you can't go wrong. So have you always thought you were going to be an entrepreneur? Was that always what you wanted to do?
You know, I was always interested in business and a little bit of sales, but I think I was always really excited about trying new things. I love change. But like I said, I kind of have a hard time getting away from the technology, because I feel like I'm analytical and I love innovation. And so, you know, and I love my career in technology.
You will definitely be very unique, right? Because as technologists, we don't always know how the consumer uses their product. So when we think we just design a beautiful, simple, fast platform, the users aren't using it, and you don't realize that that's not the way they work, right? Mm-hmm. So and so now I think you'll be a much more compassionate product manager, product developer, head of app dev, or whatever, whichever road you take next.
I feel like you're like the what Juliana and I put together. Sales and marketing, you know, background. That's what I grew up, you know, in like I said, in the fashion industry. And I ran a small business. I grew a brand from scratch, an energy drink business at that. And, you know, Juliana has been in technology and finance all her life. So like I think our background together is basically what you know, the experience that you have right now. So that's pretty cool. That's definitely very, very rare, you know? So,
and I'm learning every day. I mean, you just learn from everybody every day. I am constantly learning new things. And one of the things, like, I'm fascinated with what you ladies have accomplished so far. Like, the one thing I find I struggle with is sales, because, you know, my challenge is always like, what do you mean you don't want to get it? Didn't I just prove to you the logic of why you should?
Right. But that's not always enough to sign that deal. Exactly.
So I can't take the no's, right? I just can't take the no's. So I think that's always been a struggle for me. At the same time, you know, analytically and focused, like when I look at Juliana and what she bangs out and how focused she stays and how much she can get done, I'm like, wow, okay. You're going to give me a run for my money, because I've got to prove that I can do just as much as you can do. Oh my goodness, right? So you challenge me. And the beauty and the different, like the fashion industry, I've done retail too. It's hard, man. It's deep, and you have to be a hustler. And so you're right. I have a lifetime of hustling. I've always looked to hustle.
I think that's what we have in common. We hustle.
Yeah.
When I first met you, I don't know when it was, but you know, you were hustling inside the bank. You were getting all these people to, you know, to agree on, you know, whatever project it was that we were working on.
I think the biggest thing about me is I'll learn anything, and I'll roll up my sleeves, and I'll do anything that's needed to be done. I think mostly in startups and in entrepreneurships, You have to be willing to roll up your sleeves and do anything and everything that needs to be done, and learn it if you don't know how to do it.
So let me ask you this. I mean, you said quite a bit about being entrepreneurs. So for those that are listening, if they wanted to transition or become an entrepreneur, what advice would you give them?
Well, first, take the risk, because it does require you to take a risk, and you do have to do it, but also take a calculated risk. So, don't quit your job and just go straight into heads, feet first, and then be like, oh boy, I can't make it, and come back, right? Because that's what a lot of people do, right? You really have to plan out. I talk about business plans are so important, because if anything, it gets your thoughts on paper on how you're going to need to do, what you need to do to be successful. It's kind of like your vision board for your business, and you can pivot and do different things, but you have to be able to know that plan and know the pivots that you need to do when you need to do them. I also think that businesses are all about doing a lot of research, right? Making sure you know your market, making sure you know your customer base, and making sure that there is an opportunity there that you can leverage. But take a look and do your work, but take the risk, because a lot of entrepreneurs think about being entrepreneurs endlessly and want to, and are miserable doing what they're doing, and they don't take that step. And sometimes you have to take that step knowing that you may not be successful, but sometimes the journey is just as rewarding. And the things you learn. So I can tell you that my journey in franchising has been challenging. It's not easy. And you are not given a model that you're just taking and succeeding. I don't know. I'm waiting for that, that gift. It is hard work, and it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and money. That you have to keep reinvesting in order to grow that business and in order to get that value. And it's a lot of stress, but I think there is a lot of benefit, and the people you meet along the way and the things you learn along the way will provide you a lifetime of, satisfaction.
Okay. Those are some really good advice. So thank you. So if anyone wants to get a hold of you, do you have LinkedIn or an email you want to give? How can they get in touch with you if they have more questions?
Yeah, definitely find me on LinkedIn. I think I always find LinkedIn being wonderful, because we could find out about the person's background. You can have a dialogue, you can schedule a meeting. And so it works great. And we can also share connections. So there's lots of opportunities to share connections. And if you ever want lashes, you can always reach out to me.
Awesome. Me personally, I'll probably get a hold of you. Yeah, both of us, we'll get a hold of you. But stay there real quick. I got to remind everyone to please make sure that you subscribe to Coffee Tech Talk at YouTube. And you can also email us at connect@coffeetechtalk.show. Other than that, anything else, Jay?
Nope. See you next time.
See you next time.